This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC 278. This is the betting breakdown. Main event, Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards 2. Overall, we got a solid card. We'll talk about the locks, dogs, props, and the parlays. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe to the channel, turn those post notifications on, and share the video as well. And let's jump to locks for this weekend's card. To start things off, lock number one, I really like Polo Costa to knock Luke Rockhold unconscious. Probably second round. Feeling first or second. I'm expecting a pressure attack from Costa. He's got to know, and I mean, most of us do. I would say all of us know. Luke Rockhold's chin seems to have deteriorated over recent years, and now you're coming off a layoff. You haven't fought at 85 in some time, I believe 3 years for Luke Rockhold. He's coming out and he's taking on Costa, who's a finisher, a guy who brings great forward pressure, power in his hands, dangerous kickboxing. He also is coming out with a vengeance because he's 2 losses down. Vittori fight was very good, though, and it was close. You look at the Adesanya fight, obviously super disappointing result. Adesanya looked incredible against Costa. Costa, I think, looks incredible against Rockhold. I feel like he sleeps him. I'm thinking a big hook hurts Luke Rockhold here. I just feel as though the chin is going to be too high. We've seen him hittable with big punches in the past. Southpaw versus Orthodox with Rockhold. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out here, too. I think Costa's going to sleep him, though. I think he finds the money shot. As far as the lines, though, it's super wide towards Costa. He's sitting at best value is minus 333, but more like minus 360. Luke Rockhold plus 310 as a dog. I'm going KO for Costa with high confidence. It is minus 145, so you don't have a great tag for it. Could be a parlay addition if you have the ability to have props on the parlays. But either way, I think Costa is a highly likely. Like, that's locking it. For me, lock number one, Polo Costa. But he is a wide favorite. And there's a fair amount of wide locks here, but we still have decent ones. The next one, though, Jared Gordon over, I believe, the past his prime, Leonardo Santos. This is not the same Santos. I think Jared Gordon can beat him with the hands, actually. I think there's a good shot of a Gordon KO. Santos, to me, doesn't seem to be in the same shape that he once was. He isn't stringing his punches together the same. He put out an insane amount of output and then got tapped out by Clay Guida, overly going for it. I don't know. I'm maybe reading it wrong, but I feel like it could be lack of confidence in his stamina that makes him want to get that fight done as quickly as possible. I feel like that's a sign he's not the same. Gordon hasn't finished a fight in a long time. This is the guy to finish. I think knocking out a 40-something-year-old Leonardo Santos, I believe 43, 42, if I'm not mistaken, one of the two, Santos is going to get slapped. I think Jared Gordon stops him in the second round. I think Santos could get stung by big punches. Jared Gordon can control where the fight goes. That's a big difference here because I think he's the better wrestler. Though on the floor, high-level jiu-jitsu from Santos without a doubt at no matter what age. Gordon at minus 255 is not a terrible line, plus 250 Santos. Gordon to win by KO TKO. Plus 350. I actually think it's worth it at plus 350 to touch this line. And I think Jared Gordon is going to put on a beating of the aged, weathered, and worn Leonardo Santos. Next of the locks, Alexander Romanov over Marcin Tybura. Yes, I know Tybura is known for his grappling, but he's not the wrestling level of Romanov. He's going to have a hard time dealing with that pressure, and I think he's going to lose the bout. I'm leaning it for a finish. Romanov KO TKO, which would give him a skyrocket into the rankings. I really feel like a finish of Marcin Tybura, huge for the stock. If he does win a decision, it's still a solid win, but Tybura is known for making difficult fights. Romanov around the minus 350 range at best value. Tybura upwards of plus 330, but more so around plus 285. I'm going to lean it towards a finish for Romanov. I like inside of the distance for Romanov, but I don't like the bet of it. It's just plus 100. I don't think it's worth it. Even playing Romanov at this line, a little bit irresponsible if you're playing him at like minus 400, especially money line, because to me, even though I see a clear path to victory for him and I see him having the abilities to win, you can't discredit a veteran like Marcin Tybura, who's known as a quality grappler. Tybura, big plus money. I don't think he wins the fight, but I understand some people would lean that side. Romanov is a lock as far as the pick. As far as the bet, the value is, I think, extremely bad here. Still think he wins. But if you're going to throw down maybe in a parlay, that would be a way to touch him. Money line, I don't like it. To me, he's worth minus 200. Minus 350, extremely, extremely wide. And if you're playing at minus 400, that's way too wide. He doesn't deserve that line. But he's very good, and he beats Marcin Tybura here. Next of the locks, Tyson Pedro, who's in kind of a laughable matchup. And this is no disrespect to Harry Hunsucker. He's a capable brawler with some hands, some speed at times. He's a small heavyweight that drops down to light heavyweight. He's been knocked out in his 3 losses. You're going to see him knocked out against Tyson Pedro here. I think first round KO is extremely likely. Pedro looked nasty coming back against Ike Villanueva. I think he beats Hunsucker even worse. I'd like maybe Hunsucker Villanueva. That's a fight that makes sense. I don't know if they do it in the UFC though. Minus 690 as far as the line for Pedro. Plus 575 for Harry Hunsucker. I think Tyson Pedro should get him out of there in a round. Pedro to win, KO TKO minus 185, not even plus. Pedro in round 1 is minus 200. It's not a close line. Pedro wins by KO in round 1, minus 145. He's a lock. He's going to win the fight. He's going to get a knockout, but it's just an ugly line. If you touch the prop, I mean, not atrocious. Minus 185. Maybe it's a parlay piece. What's the inside distance at? Inside distance is atrocious. Minus 435. Skip that one. But Pedro, extremely confident pick, and I do think he wins. The next one is going to be Sean Woodson over Luis Saldana. I expect Sean Woodson to outstrike Saldana, and I think there is a legitimate chance he sleeps Saldana because of Saldana's confidence in himself and being willing to engage in the striking. I don't see him cowering down to a brawl here if things get rough and going fast, and Sean Woodson's landing big shots inside. I think Saldana's the type of fighter that is going to look to throw back. I don't see him running from the fist fight. With that being said, him being willing to engage in a brawl, him being willing to give everything he has, I think gets him finished. I think Sean Woodson knocks him out. Minus 330 for Woodson. Saldana plus 285. Let's see here. Woodson by KO TKO. Plus 200. Okay line. Under 2.5 rounds. Plus 130. Over a round and a half. Minus 225. I do think there's a fair shot it would go over that 1.5. I'm kind of seeing a later stoppage towards end of second, third round. Granted, it's murky waters there. I do think we're getting a knockout from Sean Woodson, though. He should definitely get the win. He's minus 330. I consider him more of a parlay piece. Real wide money line attack if you're looking for it, but he should get it done. Lock with not great lines. A lot of them here. And this next one doesn't help the cause at all. But because of that, I got something special coming at the end. Miranda Maverick at minus 549. Shayna Young plus 475. This to me right here with Miranda Maverick is kind of a supreme mismatch. She destroyed Young in a round previously. Granted, Young showed a bit of resistance for the takedown. Still got rear naked choked in the first 2.5 minutes. It should be Maverick wins by sub again. She's the official pick and win by submission. Plus 175. I think she probably locks up another submission here, but I do think it's a little later. I don't like the over-unders here, but I do think it's probably towards the second round. I don't think it happens as easily with Shayna Young, but Maverick, again, should get her hand raised over Shayna Young in a legitimate fight. This is a rematch, but it was an exhibition tournament bout the first time out, so it didn't count in their official records. It's a win for Maverick and a loss for Young. This is their second bout, and Maverick should win by submission once again. Now, I never normally put locks that are dogs in the lock section, but I was looking at all these lines, and I said to myself, these are atrocious. They're bad. They're really, really, really bad lines. I have to play lock Jose Aldo at plus 120. He's the ultimate lock of the week right here. It's fantastic value. He's going to beat Merab. He's going to stop the takedown, and he's going to outstrike him. I think Jose Aldo is going to have, I don't want to say career best ever performance, but I think he's going to look dominant against Merab Dvalishvili. Jose Aldo plus 120. I think that's a mistake by the books. I like all those chances. Minus 120 for Merab Dvalishvili Aldo for the win. Looking at it, plus 120 for Aldo. I am picking him by decision. That's minus 210 for the over. I don't like the props here. I think attack Jose Aldo straight money line, and that is the first ever lock dog. There's been confident-ass dogs before, but looking at all these lines, I couldn't give you guys nothing that was quality, I guess you can really say, for the locks. Like all these locks are wide favorites. There's a lot of them on this card. In the close matchups, some of them lean towards the dog. We're going to jump into the dog section, but Jose Aldo is the lock dog of the week. Dog section. Smash the like button. Let's talk about them. The dogs. Dog number 2 is going to be Daniel Lacerda da Silva, depending where you're at, because he's got multiple names here. Plus 164, Da Silva. Altamirano, minus 160. Listen, I'm not ready to write Da Silva off yet. I've seen a lot of ability and potential in him, but I've seen mishaps when the fights go down in the octagon. Is that going to happen again here? I definitely hope not. I'm expecting a competitive fight with Altamirano. Da Silva has extremely good grappling from the bottom. Problem, we haven't really seen a ton of it. It seems like maybe a little bit of fear strikes him as he's getting into the octagon. He's also a pretty dangerous southpaw fighting with quality kickboxing. And when I look at Altamirano, I see more of a scrappy striker. So I'm looking at this matchup and I'm thinking there's a legitimate chance if this fight is on the floor, I think Daniel Da Silva can find a submission, threatening Altamirano with the strikes, looking to mix in some grappling, top or bottom. Da Silva's dangerous. I'm going Da Silva win by submission. Da Silva by sub is plus 370. I like Da Silva by sub. Plus 370, dog money. And I think a legitimate dog that can come through here. Next of the dogs, this one is Perrin. I like Perrin over Kuilong Ayori, but it is a very competitive fight. Plus 135 for Perrin. I like the boxing background. I like the family boxing background. I believe grandfather was associated with Mickey Ward. Perrin can definitely throw some hands. He's a quality striker. Ayori not going to be an easy out, though. I'm picking Perrin to win a competitive decision, and I put a strong emphasis on competitive. So either side that you're on, I think there's relative risk here. Perrin, though, still plus money, plus 135. I do think we're going longer here, over 2.5, minus 190. For Perrin to win a decision is plus 300, though. I'm not crazy about the tag. I'd rather just go straight dog line. The next of the dogs, and this one is a very exciting fight. Ange Lusa over AJ Fletcher. AJ Fletcher minus 151, Lusa plus 140. Listen, AJ Fletcher's a quality prospect. He's strong as hell. He's got surprisingly good kicks, solid grappling base. Lusa's got a good Muay Thai style, and he's well-rounded as well. He's physically strong and has decent wrestling chops. I don't think Fletcher's going to have a huge edge in the wrestling. I think Lusa striking is more technical. Having the reach advantage is a factor. High-level experience edge. Ange Lusa's been around. Plus 140, Ange Lusa. I'm picking him to win over AJ Fletcher here. I'm definitely leaning it towards a decision, though. Lusa to win a decision is plus 290. Over 2.5, around minus 175. But I think Lusa money line plus 140 is a very fair play because he's going to be game as hell in an extremely difficult fight for AJ Fletcher here. Now, the final dog is probably like lower confidence dog and actually one that I don't even like the actual play all that much, but it is a dog pick and I have to mention it. It's plus 112 for Yanan Wu versus Lucy Pudilova at minus 116. Listen, it's kind of even Stevens odds. Close line. Iffy girls on both sides. Better off probably leaning the no bet side, but if you do dog attack, you're getting some plus money. I do think Wu probably wins a competitive decision, plus 185. No shock of it going the other way or this fight being a split. I think it's ultimately an extremely competitive matchups between girls in the back end here. I feel like Yanan Wu can be competitive, though, and take it on the cards in a very close fight. Those are the dogs, of course. The first one we started with Jose Aldo at plus 120, the lock dog, first ever lock dog on this week's Best MMA Bet show. I know we've done them on the money line before. You've seen me and my guy Mike Finch throw a dog out there as a lock dog, but this is first ever on this show. So I'm pretty hyped for it. Jose Aldo, I'm feeling great about. Let's jump to the parlays / value bet section. Really, only a small amount of things to get into with this one here. There's not a ton that I really want to talk about. I do think the Usman-Edwards fight. Problem with betting it, right? Usman is just way too wide at minus 350. I do expect him to get the hand raised in a very competitive fashion, but still clearly Usman winning. Leon Edwards, plus 325. I don't blame people for taking a stab at Leon. He's not a terrible play. But I do think Usman takes him here. Probably decision. It's hard for me to see Usman striking with Edwards. I'm seeing a lot of wrestling in my mind when I play this matchup out. I don't think it's going to look exactly like the first, but more on par with that. Now, the next of this prop / value bet section I want to mention, Amir Albazi. I am predicting to beat Francisco Figueiredo, but the value is all over Figgy, even though he's not a dog pick and he's not someone I'd be super confident in. I do, though, believe this fight should go over that 1.5 at minus 240. I really think this fight's probably going over 2.5 as well, minus 140 for that one. Minus 240 over 1.5, minus 140 over 2.5. Could be a riskier play, but a prop worth talking about. Official pick, Albazi decision, plus 130. That could be an okay prop to play because you're not playing that money line because it's super wide, nearly minus 500. But I do think Albazi gets himself a win over Francisco Figueiredo. I do want to jump to the parlay section, the section we all look forward to the most. So smash that like button if you haven't. And if you're new, subscribe. Let's talk parlays. Listen, I'm doing Jose Aldo as parlay number 1. Peace. I have to throw him up there. And you have to mix him with Apollo Costa. Plus 185 nearly. You're going to find it around that range depending on your book. I do think this is a fantastic 2-fighter play. If you want to add some more to it, I think Jared Gordon is a great idea. Plus 290. I think Jared Gordon should definitely get the win also. You want to continue to add to the slate. Sean Woodson, you're now sitting at plus 409, so around the plus 400 range. If you didn't have Aldo in it, though, I will show you what it's at. It's at just plus 131. So there's a drastic shift when you throw dog money Jose Aldo on the line. It's going to change the game a bit. If you keep it with just the, extremely wide locks, yeah, obviously it'll go up, but not by a ton. Could throw a Romanov in the mix as well if you really want to throw down with, some strong favorites and then a really quality dog in Jose. And let's see what happens when you take Jose out. It's not even plus 200. Look at that. I think Jose Aldo's a signature piece to, at the very least, consider playing because I think it's high likelihood that he goes out and wins the fight. I don't know. I'm surprised to see him still sitting at that dog line. I looked through, would there be another dog I wanted to add in? If I did add one, I might lean it towards Perrin over Ayori Kuilong, simply due to the fact of Daniel da Silva's, somewhat of lack of IQ moments we've seen. Brings you to plus 1,400, but that would be a super wide slate to have. And this would be more of Hail Mary territory. I think Lusa could be a quality play as well. If you went Aldo, Lusa, Romanov, Woodson, Gordon, Costa, you're sitting at plus 1,439. That's a wide-ass play. That's decent money. Now, I know some of you won't want the dogs in the play, so I'll take the dogs out. Without the dogs for this 4-fighter play, which I do think highly likely of coming through, plus 198. So not nearly the return without the dog. I think Aldo's just a fantastic piece. I will be playing him personally. You have to play the Jose Aldo line. Crazy to see this. Totally off-note subject. Bet Rivers has minus 910 for Usman and Edwards at plus 575. Somebody's got to jump on that plus 575 because I think that's way too wide for this fight. I think this is a minus 250 situation for Usman, but ultimately, long-reigning champion. He's kind of inflated just a bit. I do think Maverick gets a win. Pedro, of course, but I hate these super wide favorites on my play here because it could just crash and burn us with one of them messing up. Not recommending this at all, but just looking at what it would list if we have some real wide favorites with high likelihood of winning. Plus 2,392. This is the lottery ticket right here. Ultimately, I like the Aldo Costa play number 1. I'm feeling great about this one. I do think high likelihood of it coming through. Brings you to plus money, and you have a quality play. You can add more to it like I did previously, adding in a Woodson, adding in a Gordon. Great ideas. Don't go too nuts with them. 2, 3 fighters max, 4 if you really want to push it. Outside of that, you're doing lottery ticket plays. I'm excited for this card. I'm expecting some quality action. I will be live for the entire event, so make sure you jump into the Fight Companion because we got 6-7 hours of live play-by-play and just enjoying the violent festivities on Saturday. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the picks. And if you don't have anything to say, but you just want to pump that algorithm for me, drop a W in the chat for your boy. As always, much love, my people. Money line tomorrow. We got Gerald Mearshart coming on. Looking forward to that one. Friday weigh-in recap show. And as I already mentioned, Saturday, fight day, fight companion going down. Much love. Thank you all so much. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.